Hey, what's up, fam? Thank y'all for tuning in once again. As always, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit the notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. So Tabitha Brown and her husband Chance, they have a podcast. I think it's called Friday. Yes, called Fridays with Tabitha and Chance. I haven't seen any episodes. Well, I might have seen some clips here and there, but nothing that I watch on a regular. But recently, on one of their podcasts, they touched on the subject of temptation, a lot of temptation. It was, they talked about, they talked about temptation, relationships, marriage, money, life, etc. It was a pretty good podcast. You should go check it out when you get a chance. But one subject in particular that piqued my interest was that she said that there were times in their marriage that they didn't love or were not in love with each other. They loved each other, pretty much couldn't stand each other, couldn't tell if they was even married or not sometimes, just walking by each other. But the reason why they didn't separate or divorce was because of finances. Now, recently, and it doesn't really say exactly what time frame during their marriage that they felt like this, because she's been successful for a few years now. But I know there have been articles and stories about couples who get divorced but still live in the same house. Matter of fact, I did a story, I believe earlier this year or late last year, where tragically there was a guy who was, deleted by his ex. Because they were divorced, but they live in the same, they would live in the same house, and he deleted her she deleted him, because she found him talking to somebody and she got jealous and stabbed him. So I think it's crazy, but you see stories like that. And this is like a few years ago. This is probably, I don't know, at least 3, 4, 5 years ago that this started. And then with inflation the way it is, and during this Biden-Harris administration, it's got a lot worse. Cost of living is going up, and it's just hard to live by yourself. But let's get into the story, because like I say, there's a few details I want to touch on. And this is from shinemycrown.com. Now, we're going to go through this, and it's going to be interesting what this article touches on and what it doesn't touch on. But it says, Tabitha Brown admits she tried to leave her marriage, couldn't afford a divorce. Now, when I watched the podcast, she didn't actually say that she tried to leave. She just said she wanted to, but they couldn't afford to. Like, neither one of them could afford to live by themselves. But let's get into it. It says vegan lifestyle influencer Tabitha Brown has opened up about a personal struggle in her marriage, financial constraints that prevented her from pursuing a divorce. Now, I have one of her books, one of her recipe books that I use, because yes, I am like trying to become a full-fledged vegan. I tell people all the time, my biggest weakness is chocolate chip cookies, especially homemade. My gosh, but everything else, I can cut out anything at any time. But I eat mainly fruits and vegetables in my diet. I think now I have, like in the last few months, I've lost maybe 20 some pounds. I'm not sure if you've been watching my videos, I'm not sure if you can tell the difference in my face, but yeah, I've been trying to get down to a certain weight, exercise, get more, mobility, more sun, eat better. Just trying to make sure that I'm as healthy as possible the older I get. It said the Fridays with Tabitha and Chance host Tabitha and her husband Chance faced significant challenges in their marriage that led to thoughts of separation. They recalled that the reality of their financial situation forced them to stay together. Tabitha and Chance began dating in middle school and broke up shortly before high school. I don't know if you call it dating. We should call it going together. You can't really date, because if you ain't got a car, you no money. To me, dating is going out somewhere. So we should call it going together back then. Chance and his high school girlfriend eventually had a daughter named Talia, whom Tabitha now refers to her as her bonus daughter. Chance and Tabitha attended separate colleges, but eventually reconnected due to a gut feeling. Okay. In a clip from the recent podcast episode, Brown revealed that despite feeling disconnected from her husband, she was unable to leave due to financial constraints. Quote, the temptation for me would have been to leave because I knew I could survive on my own, right? Now, what she says, now what's missing in this, the context is about, has to deal with their success, the financial success that they've gotten. And what they were saying is the way the whole marriage worked out, it worked out for the best because now they're still together, because she said that if she would have got the success that she has now, back then when times were hard and they couldn't stand each other and wanted to divorce, she probably could have left. But because they had nothing and was still struggling financially, that's what kept them together. So you got, like I said, that's one thing they said the story did not touch on. They just tried to make it seem like, she said she can survive on her own. She said there were times that we stayed together because we couldn't survive without each other. This is the truth. I wasn't in love. It was like I couldn't afford to leave. We had to work it out, Tabitha confessed. Again, the way they worded this paragraph, they were saying that she could have left, but she would have said, I can, support myself, right? That's the way they wrote it, but that's not the way it was actually said on the video. She went on to explain that their relationship had moments where love seemed to fade and they found themselves merely coexisting. And throughout that time, we just fell back in love. There were times when we absolutely were not in love with each other. We loved each other, but being in love was completely different. There were times when we did not like each other. There were times we didn't even know we were married, but we could not afford to leave each other. Despite the challenges Brown and her husband were able to overcome the difficulties and reconcile, she shared that through their struggles, they were able to rediscover their love for each other. See, that's one of the benefits I mentioned before. That's one of the benefits of starting a relationship young for men and women, to be honest. Because you start out together and you have nothing. If you're on the same path and, you both trying to do what's best, for each other, because like I said, you're in love with each other, whatever. You go through the hard times, you go through the struggles, and you appreciate it more, or so you hope you appreciate it more. I mean, there are times people get in relationships and they start out struggling, and one of the person comes up, get a degree, get a career, make a lot of money, and then they start acting different. And then they want to leave the person that they've been with, which is crazy. But you got people who do that. But then you got some people who will come up and say, okay, now that I got it, I'm going to take care of everything. Let's do this. So that way you can come up too. So that way we can make this thing work. We can do this together as a married couple. But like I say, it's better. It's one of the perks and benefits of starting together, because when you're both down, you're struggling, actually you appreciate it more when you have things. But you got some people who don't understand that, don't think of the long term. Everything is me, now. And so they're like, I can't stand you. I'm finna go because the grass is green on the other side. Not understanding how hard it is financially for you to do it by yourself. Matter of fact, I want to go to this bankrate.com website. And this goes back to last year or a couple years ago. And it says the 2023 cost of living data, singles versus married couples. This is real quick. Say throughout the country, stubborn inflation has raised overall cost of living dramatically. Can you imagine trying to be single, starting out, and you're making $10, $12. I think you're doing something $15 an hour. Again, when I was coming out of high school, you can work a job making $6, $8 an hour and afford an apartment and a little small car note. Interest might be high as hell, but you could afford that. You could afford to live, pay bills, and you could be two people, but one person. You can live in, like I said, I started out in Canterbury Village. All bills paid $425. I mean, you had somewhere to stay, had a little car. You were good. Come to the next apartment, maybe paying like $550 with utilities, but still you good. Still you can make it with $10 an hour. You can't do that right now when average rent here in Texas is like $1,700 at least for one bedroom apartment. Not like $425 back 30 years ago. It said at the same time, the housing market, can you imagine trying to survive on what we had to survive on nowadays? Really, you can't. It said at the same time, the housing market remains volatile with home prices high, inventory low, and mortgage rates through the roof. When every dollar counts, many are examining the affordability of their housing situation. So which is cheaper, living single or cohabitating as a part of a married couple? Let's see. So it says, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics 2021 Consumer Expenditure Survey, the average single person spends about $48,000 annually, of which $17,899 is spent in housing. In comparison, the average marriage couple spend about $76,000. So that's not even double, right? That's like 2/3. It's like, a little more, like it's not double, but it's like 2/3 of double. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's not even the same. It's like you spending less annually, of which $24,811 is spent in housing. So it comes to $12,405 for each person if you split things 50-50. So married people living together are spending nearly $5,500 less on housing expenses each year than single people are. So imagine, now you can say, well, what about gas? What about food? Well, food, it's kind of like a give and take because people waste a lot of food anyway. If it's two people and you're in a house and you budgeting, it's usually a lot of times single people eat out. If you're married, you should probably maybe eat in a little more. Or instead of buying like a single meal, it's going to be $15. You might can buy a whole pizza for $20. You can, you can still save a few dollars even on food. Now gas, if both of y'all working, it's like, it's not going to change, right? Because y'all still going to the same jobs, spend the same money in gas or whatever. So it's really electricity, all that kind of stuff, really probably be the same or maybe a little bit more. But all in all, you're going to be saving more money. It says, is being single bad for your financial health? Financially, single people who shoulder living costs on their own can have a rougher go at it than married couples who can share costs. But that doesn't mean being unmarried is negative. Actually, it can simplify things. Because I say it like this. If you have a career, if you got a career, educated college degree, so you have no student loans, little to no student loans, and you got a career where you're making, at least $70,000-$80,000 a year, up to $100,000 a year. As a single person, that's straight. You got it in the bag. If you ain't got no kids, you ain't worry about nothing. You can do it. But if you have no education, past a high school degree, high school diploma, and you got to work these menial jobs, making little to no money, and you might make $15, maybe $17 an hour. You need to make that to be able to afford a 1-bedroom apartment in anywhere in the country. It's hard out there. And you have to also think about food, gas, insurance, stuff like that. So I would say it depends on your circumstances financially. There's always financial circumstances. But I believe that Tabitha and Chance, they should be a good example from what I'm seeing from the outside looking in on how it should be done and how you should plan it, how you should work it out. Because they say they've been married like 26 years, I guess. They've been together 20-something years. And so she did her thing, her vegan thing, became an influencer, writing books, doing tours, making good money, doing podcasts, making good money. And he was a police officer, and he was able to retire from being a police officer and I guess work with her or work for her, whatever happened with him. But the thing is, again, it's not what you think it is. It was all cracked up to be. Because they went to college, started a little young. I don't know if they had loans or debt or something like that, because that's one of the negative things of getting into a relationship later in life, because you don't really talk about finances because emotion is involved. Love, all that stuff is involved. So you really don't talk about finances until you get in the marriage, and then it's like it's too late. Because now y'all got each other debt. And depends on the state you live in and how the divorce goes. You as a dude, the man might just have to take on some of her debt too and give her a bunch of stuff. So that's why you see a lot of guys nowadays not getting married, want to stay single, do their own thing. But I say it's kind of like even with the women, you don't want to wait too long because like I say, you don't want nobody. You get with somebody, y'all get in a relationship, y'all bonding, y'all gelling, y'all clicking, and then all of a sudden you come to find out she got, $50,000, $100,000 student loan, credit cards up to wazoo, car payment with a high interest rate, and now you taking on that debt, and it's hard for you to get that debt down or pay it off because she got that way in the first. Somehow she had that way in the first place. Well, how did she get that way in the first place? Bad money management, and it's going to be hard to fix that in a relationship unless you pretty much take over all the finance or whatever. But that's a whole different story. But like I say, what it say, real quick. However, let me see, because I saw this right now. Okay. It said, whereas a partner may split mortgage payments or utility payments, single people are generally more likely to cover our bills themselves and to do so with one income, said Rachel Burnett, a broker and senior manager of sales training with Orchard in Austin, Texas. However, that does not necessarily mean married couples have an advantage. Many people bring debt and poor credit history into relationships, making finances difficult for their partner. And that's what you run into. So like I said, it's good. You start young, start together. Y'all see what y'all doing, how y'all screwing up, and hopefully y'all can help each other fix the problems together. So when you get 20-something years into the relationship, figured out how to make it run like a well-oiled machine, and all you're really dealing with are new problems or new issues that arise and not the old stuff. So that's it. So shout out to Chance and Tabitha. May their marriage last forever and a day. And hey, hopefully the same for you. But anyway, tell me what you think about this story. Leave your comments below, share it with the world. Let's dialogue here. You know how we do it. And I want to thank y'all for watching. But also, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Those 4 things, the most important things you can do, but it only costs you maybe a couple of minutes out your day. But it means the world to us here. Now, if you would like to support monetarily, you can always give super thanks, super chats, or go to the description box. There are links there you can click on, and you can support that way. And also don't forget to go to marlonmorale.com, marlonmorale.com. That link is in the description box too. 10% off your first purchase. Check it out. I guarantee you will not be disappointed in any of the products that we have on display. Again, marlonmorale.com. But with that being said, I'll leave you in peace, and I'll see you on the other side.